Hello, YouTube and Instagram and anyone else that's watching us. Facebook, welcome to Clutter Live. We've been away for a couple of weeks because of family obligations, and we're now back.
This is our first podcast in April.
Yes.
Wow.
This is our April edition.
We have to say happy birthday to a bunch of people.
No, we're not. It's too many people, including you. It's too many people. Yeah.
A lot of birthdays in April.
Yeah. So what's up, everyone? If you're watching us on Instagram, go over to YouTube because you will only be able to see us and not the whole thing. What's new with you guys? What's up, Cece? What's been going on over there? You had a good Easter half-term break? You can't hear us?
Can you hear us, Tanaka?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Cece, did you mute?
Cece?
Mute?
No. Oh, no. Let's remove. Bear with us while we deal with that technical.
Yeah, a little technical issue here.
Let's try him again.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hey, Cece.
Hey.
No?
Wow.
Log out and log back in. Go out, come back. So, Mari Tanaka, how are you? What's new with you?
Yeah, chilling. Just enjoyed this nice weather. We finally got 90-degree days here. So,
oh my God,
it's
right?
wild.
I'm wearing sweatpants, but enjoying the sunshine.
I mean, I've been in that room all day, and it's been cold. So,
are you still rocking your sweatpants?
Yeah, dude. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sweatpant life. I don't know. Is that a thing?
That's like a big life choice.
It is. But when you are over the age of 40, it is totally appropriate to wear sweatpants all day, every day.
You really think so?
Yeah.
Make a poll on that. Can we put a poll up in YouTube? Is it okay to wear sweatpants when you're over 40?
Over 40,
Cece.
Hey.
Hello.
Yay! I don't know what happened. There was a technical difficulty, and we've resolved it. So my question was, how are you, Cece? How's your half-term spring break been?
Good, yeah. Done Easter stuff. Went to the movies and that. It's great.
Did you eat lots of chocolate eggs? You can't eat lots of chocolate eggs.
No, I didn't eat shit. I'm making my own bread. I'm doing keto. I'm fucking down, son.
Wow.
Have you lost weight?
No, the fuck. Not yet.
But it's right. That's my thing.
It's not. I'm not that bothered. I just want to be healthier.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the Super Mario movie?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
I got some toys from it too. They're well good.
Show us the toys.
I wanted to talk
Somebody on Instagram says you have to wear sweatpants after you're 40.
Yeah, it's long.
To YouTube. YouTube.
What'd you get?
Wow, nice. They look really good.
Whoa.
That's really good.
Yeah, good, aren't they?
They're awesome. Who made those?
That's what
Tell
I was
us
gonna
about
ask.
these toys.
I think they're Jack or something.
Oh, nice.
Jack's toys. I don't know.
Cool.
Okay.
Nice. Are they somehow about the movie?
Yeah, so Super Mario's movie.
They're in the movie. It's a fucking Mario movie. You fucking.
No, but the toys for the movie, they are.
Yeah, it's a movie out the box.
I don't want to be a cunt, but oh my God, I just cursed on YouTube. But how are they different than regular Mario toys?
Because they're the ones in the movie.
The ones in the movie. That's awesome.
Yeah, these are super.
They're super.
Yeah, they're nice anyway. So
I heard that it's a really good movie for kids, and you shouldn't go into it thinking anything else.
Oh man,
and just have a good time.
Who told you that?
I don't know. The YouTubes.
The internet.
Oh, the YouTubes. It's Mario, man. There's Easter eggs all over the place. It's good. It's good.
That's nice. You're just you let it happen. You just let it happen to yourself. That's what they're saying. You seem to just let it happen. Don't worry about the plot. We're gonna see it on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's good. Yeah.
Wait, so I wanted to tell you about this article in the Atlantic today. They said that eating a bowl of ice cream every day is really good for diabetics.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Did you know that?
I'm sure it's really good.
It can't be.
They did this whole test and this whole study, and that's one of the things that came out of it. And they've tried to disprove it over and over again, and they're it's fucking real. There's something about ice cream in particular. Against
this is Josh trying to kill a bunch of diabetics.
I've eaten ice cream and I know that it spikes my blood sugar, so it's not good for you.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm not saying you should do it.
I'm not doing it. No. I've tried it. I know what it does. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Have you tried doing it every day?
No.
I think the health benefits are you have to do it progressively every day.
Oh.
We'll start.
Yeah,
off.
I'll leave that one. I think.
I think you
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
You're going to start your own research group.
Yeah.
Well,
So I'm Jewish, and I celebrated Easter. And
you celebrated Easter?
Yeah.
Did you? What did you do?
I put out eggs on the lawn.
That wasn't celebrating Easter.
Isn't that celebrating Easter? Isn't that how you celebrate Easter?
I mean, it's something you do, but it's not because of Easter. That's like saying you celebrate Easter because now you're like, there's some black stuff in your head. I'll help you out there.
What's on my head?
That's like saying you're religious or something.
Oh no, I just I did Easter.
You did the egg thing with the kids,
The
right?
egg thing.
The egg thing with the kids.
Yeah.
Not the juice.
And then they eat all the candy, and then they freak out, and you have to yell at them and tell them that they're bad. After you like,
Well, they start screaming at each other
yeah,
usually, right?
yeah. After you like pile them with sugar.
Are you a Peeps man, Josh?
I don't touch the Peeps because I've learned my lesson. Like they're not good.
What's that?
It's not worth it.
100% celebrating Easter.
Peeps are like the marshmallow things, but then they also just discovered they have carcinogens in them, so they're like,
Yes.
don't eat the Peeps anymore. But like,
Only the pink ones. It's the pink ones. I took them
oh
back
my god,
because I read that article and I bought pink ones, so I took them back and changed them for yellow ones.
I legit
What
ate
are
a
they?
box
I've
of
never
pink
heard of
ones.
them.
They're marshmallow, little, like, they look like ducks.
They don't have them in England.
No.
No, I've never heard of them.
They're not real marshmallows. They're just part of the American, like, let's make fake food thing.
It's just puff
Oh my-
sugar. It does. Yeah, it doesn't even taste as good as a marshmallow.
No.
Yeah, oh, totally. You hate yourself after you eat it.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I don't even bother with the Peeps. I'm just
And
like,
you still eat it though.
they look very desirable.
I
I don't
do,
touch
but-
them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or,
It's
They're
like
not
a-
good. I
you
mean,
know.
chocolate is not good. Candy is not good.
yeah, no.
So, sorry, everybody.
Brown
It's true.
wax.
It's true. It's
Yeah,
bad.
but what about the Cadbury though? Are you a big fan of the Cadbury, Miranda?
Cadbury's delicious. And Cadbury here, don't be fooled, all you people in America that are buying Cadbury and thinking that it's Cadbury's. It is not. It is American Cadbury's made by Hershey's and it's not the same.
There is
Yeah.
candy chocolate. Like
Yeah,
candy.
you should import some British Cadbury's and compare and contrast for yourself because it's quite different.
So, the guys at the local coffee shop want to play a prank on you
Yeah,
and send you Irish breakfast tea and see if you can tell the difference.
there is no difference.
That's what I said. I said I didn't think that there would be a difference.
No.
But they're so excited by the fact that it's just dawning on them that you're English
So
and you
different.
drink English breakfast tea, so they want to see if they can like trick you.
Does the Irish breakfast fill you with rage?
Yeah, it fills you with Irish rage.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So what else? Oh, they have Peeps Pepsi flavor. Oh my good God, Dingy Dave.
Really?
That must be disgusting.
It's not Dingy Dave.
Dingy Dave, yeah.
It's Dingy Dave. It's really. It's always in my mind. It's always been Dingy Dave.
What's up,
Sorry,
Dingy
Dave.
Dave? That's
True.
right.
Like you're getting your little rowing boat, Dave. I don't know
That's
why.
a
That's
di-
just a dinghy in England.
That's a dinghy. Yeah, Dingy Dave.
Dingy.
Dingy Dave has a little rowboat. If you haven't made rowboat toys, now's the moment.
Sorry. That's the things you learn when you do the podcast.
Dingy.
Dingy Dave.
It's
Dingy
G.
Dave.
Yeah,
It's true.
but Dingy's funny.
It's true. It's an Irish tea, just adding a little bit of whiskey. Yes. Yes, it is. If they're going to send me whiskey in the tea, that's fine.
Would you drink it?
Yeah.
Tea
No,
with
I'd be
whiskey?
like, this is disgusting, but then
Yeah,
I'd
there you
drink
go.
it.
No, they just wanted to
So-
see if you like have special taste sensors being from
I mean, I do.
England.
We can lie to them too. In other news, we had in other news, toy related, we had a couple of amazing openings. Was
Yes.
it this weekend? I don't know. Time's
Oh my
blurred.
god, was
It
this just this past
like-
weekend, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we had our annual in action figure show, which was the 11th year
Mhm.
of action figures, which is crazy.
I made such a point of saying that to people because so many just random people have wanted to come in and look at the show this week. And so I've been letting people in and they're like, oh my God, what are these? And I've been like, this is the 11th annual. And they're just like, what are these? And I'm like, it's the 11th. You're like,
Yeah, 11 years.
where have you been? Not
Mhm.
trying to make people wrong for not knowing, but I am a little bit.
But you are,
A little bit.
just a little bit.
A little bit.
So that was awesome. The 11th year of In Action Figures. You can come along and check it out. Check it out online too. We also had Casting Shadows, which was a collaboration show between Fifth Turtle and Mr. Kum Kum. Those pieces are awesome. We did an in-person lottery sale and an online lottery for the people that couldn't make it. But most of the pieces were sold in person, which was really fun because we got to chat with collectors and people flew in from Japan and all kinds of places to buy them. So that was quite an experience.
Yeah.
Alex talked to everybody outside running the bar, right?
Oh yeah.
It was starting to feel like a little bit of a pre-pandemic vibe.
Yeah.
To the show, like.
And we can say that the pandemic is officially over because I went to a hospital appointment on Monday and I didn't have to wear a mask. So
yes,
that tells you that it's officially done.
That was crazy, right?
Yeah.
To go somewhere and just be like, hey.
I was like, oh, where's my mask? I gotta find it. And they're like, you don't need one. I'm like, whoo.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Barely Available. It was 2 awesome shows. And then not only do we have 2 awesome shows that are currently on display, we have another one coming up this month, which we just like squoze into the schedule. On April 29th, we have the Creon Nugget. What pandemic? Exactly. Florida never experienced it. You were good. We have the Nugget group custom show, Nugget Party, which is awesome. I'm sure you guys have seen them be posted online. Should we sneak a couple of them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cece, you got yours close? Have you already shipped it? No. I just thought about it. It's downstairs. I can sneak Mr. Kumkum's because it's right here. So here it is. Check out the little skeleton dudes on it.
Oh, so good.
It's so good.
Yo, red, black, and gold is the combo. I love it.
It is. So that's a quick peek of that one. There's like 40 odd artists in the show. You have one too, right? You have a bunch of them back there.
Oh, nobody's seen this one. But yeah, we all recognize this as Doc A.
In the house.
Boom.
There's some killer
Mastercraft as always from.
There's a lot of Filipino and people from Singapore and Indonesia and that kind of side of the world in this custom show, and the paints on them are just mind blowing.
Yo,
just crazy.
Do you want to say that thing that you said earlier today?
No. Sorry, Alex. What did you say?
Oh, I just said the things that I'm seeing right here in front of me that nobody else can see is just fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I got yelled at even just walking in the room. Like, don't touch anything.
Yeah. I was like, you shouldn't be back here. Go away. You'll break things. Just don't come back here.
Oh my God. I didn't even want to pull them out of the boxes because I was like, yo, I'm going to fucking smudge this or I'm going to fuck it up in some way. So, like, yeah, she's right about that.
I am. And I haven't done like a gallery catalog for a while, but this show has inspired me to do them again. So I am putting together a catalog that will go along with this show. It's available for pre-order right now on the website. It's $40 because there's only going to be a few of them made, but it's going to be like 200 pages and everyone's customs are going to be in there. So I'm excited about that too. What else?
Whoa.
Oh, you know what I was going to do? I was going to sneak peek the VIP exclusive toy for 5 points this year, which we haven't posted yet.
We haven't posted yet?
No.
Holy shit.
So I thought, why not use this as an opportunity to discuss that? So we have shown the poster art, the flyer. I wonder if this is backwards for everybody. Probably.
No, it's weird.
We'll see. So yeah, Deadbeat City did the artwork for the flyer this year, which is awesome. So this year's exclusive, is going to be a little vinyl Kuma bear. Here he is. Exclusive just for 5 Points Fest. So we will announce this on Instagram probably tomorrow. So if you do not have a VIP ticket yet, you need to go in there and grab one because it's the only way to get this. So there we go.
Very exciting.
That's
He's super cute.
He is super cute.
Super fun.
Also available right now is the double cast Mr. Kumkum Have a Nice Day hand, which is glow in the dark.
Bone and smoke.
Why is this just trying to fall asleep? Glow in the dark. Yep. Glow in the dark.
Glow in the dark. That's a whole new colorway.
Yeah. So check that out. What else do we have to sneak? Anything?
That thing glows so nicely too. The photos that you guys took, oh my God, amazing.
Like super X-ray.
I don't know. My computer keeps wanting to fall asleep, which is not helpful.
We're in the middle of a podcast.
Yeah.
Don't fall asleep, computer.
Maybe you have to go to 5 points now. Yes, you do. You do. This is just the tip of the iceberg of awesome that's happening.
There's so much cool stuff that we're about to
Cece's
announce.
coming. We already have his plane tickets.
Nice.
It's gonna be just amazing. So everybody, get your tickets and come on over because water's warm.
Yeah.
Alex is going to be there.
Yeah, Alex is going to be there. I'm going to be there.
He's going to sing and dance.
Yeah. Oh, yo, I will. I fucking will.
I know. Anything else new
I don't know.
to discuss? I don't think so. I think because today we have a hard stop in an hour and a half.
We do?
Yeah, 8:00 is our
Oh, that's not what I told everyone, but that's cool.
This is what's happening.
All right.
So today's special guest is somebody we've known for a really long time. He's been like a cornerstone of the industry for a long time, but I don't know whether he's been around as much recently. We thought that he moved to Vegas because it was too humid in New York, but that was not the truth.
Well, we can ask
just
about
made
that.
up.
We can ask about that.
So we're going to bring on none other than ESC-TOY's founding father, Erick Scarecrow. I'll do it. I thought Alex was gonna do it.
Yeah. We had
What's up? What's up, guys? Thank you for having me.
Let the light in.
Oh,
Coming on.
like you had the
There he goes.
There he is. Hello. So
What's
you
up?
didn't move to Vegas because it was too humid in New York, right? That wasn't the reason.
I was closer to the containers
Closer
in
to
Long Beach.
I've been telling people for like however many years since you left that you left because of the humidity.
No. I mean, it was a lot of personal reasons why. I mean, it was just, after my father passed, I was like, I just felt like I needed to try something. My wife and I needed to try something very different. And, it just ended up to be Vegas, which I would have never fathomed. Like, I would have never, ever thought I'd be out here. But I mean, it's pretty dope, but,
and everyone's moving to Vegas now. You've got some good friends out
I don't
there.
know if that's true.
2 people have moved to Vegas now. 2 people that we know have moved to Vegas.
You got sket ones out here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still coming. They're still coming out here. I mean, they're coming from Cali. But yeah, it's dope. I mean, it's hot when it gets hot.
Yeah, it's too hot. See, every time we have issues with humidity when we're casting resin, we go, this is why Erick moved to Vegas for years.
Yo, for real, man. Like that drying time, like paint drying times and resin, like it when you have like 15-22% humidity, that it just goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And especially if you're drying under the sun, forget it. Like maybe 5-7 minutes, you're good.
Wow. See? So it's a huge pro.
Yeah. That was why you just didn't know.
We can ask you about the cons of living in Vegas.
Yeah.
The what?
And the cons. That's a pro of living in Vegas. What's a con of living in Vegas?
The cons. Oh, you can't walk. Think about it. I mean, if it's hot, it's just, this is desert heat, yo. Like, this is like, it's unbearable. Like,
T-shirt. Dangerbot, we need a t-shirt. This is desert heat.
And make it in black with white letters. It's that's the only thing. Well, the heat and you can't walk everywhere. I mean, me being from Queens, so it's like, you kind of miss that part of it, of just being able to walk around and stuff. And it's just smaller, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little grid.
Yeah.
And I was born in Queens.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Vegas now? It's gotta be like
6 years?
No, 7, almost 8 years, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's changed. Like, one thing out here is like the boom, like with all the construction and people moving here. Like, I've seen straight up like dust patches with tumbleweeds, and then like 6 months later it's a community, or like a mini mall, or it's bugged out that way, You know, like you're just like, wow, this just. They keep saying there's no water.
And
You know,
Right.
yeah. I'm just like, yeah, there's there. You know, but I'm very lucky to be out here. I feel because I don't know. It's just for what I do. You know, it's just you know. I don't want to say this the wrong way. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like I know what I do is unique and shit. So it's like Sked and I, you know, we like when you look at the designer toy heads, like it's him and I.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So but I feel like that's gonna change, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going backwards
let's start.
to the
I wanna
beginning.
ask
Let's go
like,
back.
Okay.
your toy story.
We do. So
Where did
you
it
were
all
born
start?
and raised in Queens. So tell us how it started.
Which part of Queens?
Oh man.
So
I was born in Elmhurst, and then I grew up in Lefrak, like Corona,
the
Queens.
Flex City?
Yeah.
Dude, we were just talking about that shit the other day because a really good friend of ours, so Corey, who runs our resin studio, his wife grew up in somewhere near there, but her best friend lived in Lefrak City, and I'd only ever seen it driving on the LIE, on the Long Island Expressway. For those of you who don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, driving past Lefrak City, there's just this big sign. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
That's what it was, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was fun before the drugs came. You know, so, I mean, you know, it's just that, you know, to live through that era when crack exploded.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's, man, you know, like to see how everybody's having fun to then the guns come out and, you know, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of that helped my creativity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you know, my parents, they kept me in. They didn't want me out and
like,
stuff.
here's a pencil, here's some music, sit and draw.
What, listening to music on the radio? The good old days? Yeah. So it's like, yeah.
They kept you in the house. They gave you a pencil and like said like.
No, my mom, you know, it was in a situation where they could afford art supplies. So, you know, she would, I hate saying this, but she would lift photocopy paper from me, from her job, and bring it, and then I would draw on, and that's essentially how I started. And you know, it was, and then when, you know, I graduate to markers, like designer markers when I could afford them. And then I remember getting my first airbrush in '92.
Mm-hmm.
And then that shit blew my mind because it was like, oh wow, you know. And I was already thinking of applying it on toys back then. It just, to me, it was just so far concept that what people would see, they would appreciate the art that I would airbrush and like illustrations. But when the toy stuff, I would experiment quietly. Like I would take my baby sister's toys and airbrush them, and
awesome.
I would trick them out. And I kind of wish I had them because it's technically my first pieces.
Yeah.
And it would just, they would look dope. Like they were just so different. And you know, I just like, I was like, yeah, this is just going over people's heads because there was just, people would ask me to do logos and stuff. So it was just like, it was just over. Like nobody would really understand that. And I just think that like, you know, having the tools that I had, I mean, I'm self-taught, you know what I'm saying? I'm an art college dropout, you know, and because it was just.
Which art school did you go to?
SVA.
Okay.
Yeah, they told me not to stay there. Huh?
So I'm also an art school dropout.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, you know. I mean, which school did you go to?
NYU.
I mean, yo, what year? What year were there?
95.
Yeah, that's, so we're in the same bracket. So, I mean, it was wild, yo, because these people are telling me, yo, you're not supposed to be here, and you know, my parents are telling me otherwise.
Yeah.
And it's like it was confusing, but I remember and I know we spoke about this the other day. Well, I don't want to jump into that, but the whole thing was with the Photoshop. You know, like I remember when Photoshop, I think it was like 3 was out.
Yeah.
And that wasn't part of my class. Like, and it was just like, yo, this is it just, and I knew like, no, this is the future, not this traditional shit that like cartooning. I mean, you can't teach me that. It's like I honestly feel like you're either born with it or not. Like you have it or you don't. Like it's just you're either gifted or you know it is what it is. Like it's just it's just art school is just I feel like even in this day and age even worse. Like I don't think it's worth it. Like it's just I have people Gen Zers asking me questions and I'm like, yo, and I tell them the truth, man. Like don't do it. Don't go to school for that, because the minute they either make that app obsolete or whatever, you're done. Like what are you gonna do? You know, I think YouTube University is more realistic.
Okay, this is a really interesting conversation. So, I mean, when I went to school, there was a whole background of art context, and I don't know if they really do that at SVA, because we've lectured, and Cece's done it with us too. We've gone and lectured at SVA quite a few times now at Jason Freeney's class. You know Freeney, right?
I'm familiar with his work. His work is really, really very, very cool.
And I just, the vibe at SVA is definitely different than the vibe at NYU. Like NYU was way more context heavy. Yeah. And we weren't making, like we would see the portfolios coming out of SVA, coming out of Parsons. And I was like, fuck, like you guys were crushing it. And we were like, just not, our skills weren't that dope, but we were like talking.
That's what I was going to say, that YouTube University can't teach you the context of that. Well, it can, I guess, if you deep dive, but the conversations about historical context and relevance and learning what came before you is important. So
it is, but how
it's not the same thing though.
No, and look, people could, they'll be divided on what I'm saying here, and it is, it is what it is. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, hence why we're on Clutter Live, right? Mm-hmm. To me, it's just talent isn't something learned. You know what I'm saying? Like that's God-given. So to me, it's just, I get like when you should learn about. Look, I flunked my art history class plenty of times. It is what it is. Like maybe it was the way it was delivered. I find more interesting YouTube videos about art history than the teachers that actually, stood before me talking about, the great masters. And I was actually more interested in how the Medici family were, they're just how they hustled the Renaissance. Right. And that was more fascinating to me because they showed the value of having art. And, that there's a story of when, if you tell me if you guys are familiar with this, when the Medicis would bring people in and they'll show them their place, and the place would be fully painted. It'll have like a really, it would just be decked out, and people would just be like, oh shit, it was such an impression. And this is work that they commissioned because they knew the value of having that, of when you walk in, you're like, oh shit, your mind is blown. That's a shock thing. That was an impression. So to me, I don't know, like that side of it, that was a business decision. And you start to really look at it going, okay, why was this family so important? Like why was their hand in art the way it was? And that to me was way more fascinating, because the whole thing with Michelangelo, with the way they were teaching the lessons I had flunked, was, oh yeah, he did this, but they didn't tell me about his fucking staff.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because he wasn't doing this by himself.
Right.
Right. He had a crew.
And
that's really interesting that even then you were more interested in the business of art, and that's taken you through your whole life.
Yeah, because it was unrealistic. I would look at these pieces and I'm like, yo, he did this, just one guy,
Yeah.
and that shit just didn't make sense to me.
Have
I'm
you
just like,
seen the are you familiar with the David Hockney book about lenses in the Renaissance and the invention of the camera?
oh yes, I don't remember the name, but I remember this. Yeah.
I have the book. I have the book at home, but it's this incredible thing where he realized that, you know, you look at 13th century armor, just talking about painting armor, and it shows like this is what armor looked like in the 13th century paintings, 14th century paintings, and then all of a sudden in the 15th century, it's like perfected.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they invented lenses, but no one was talking about that. It was very quietly happening in the art guilds. And so you would go and you would apprentice, and it was a secret. And so then when you would look at portraiture, like I know that as an art student, I would go and look at these paintings in the Met and think to myself, like, how could I ever draw like that? It's so otherworldly. It's so perfect. It's so beautiful. It's so realized. And then you find out that they were actually sitting in a booth, and David Hockney reconstructed the booth where there's like a little tiny lens, and the person sits on one side of the booth, and the lens, the light, there's a light source, and then it bounces off the lens, and that lens shoots it onto a piece of paper upside down.
Yeah.
And they would trace it upside down and then come out with this, you know, and then render it. But they were actually, and the same thing with Van Eyck.
I don't want to stop the conversation,
What?
but someone just joined on Instagram and they say hi from Iran. So hello, Iran. Come and join us on YouTube because we'd love to have you in the conversation.
Absolutely. So like Jan Van Eyck, like you look at the colors in his paintings, and it's like he was actually using a lens to project the color of light onto his palette and mixing the paint directly to the color of light. So it wasn't this God shown a special talent on these people that we can know.
Look, some people are talented. I'll give them this. Some people, you have your geniuses. You have
absolutely.
But those are so far and few.
Yeah.
And to me, like when you're talking about the application, the technique, come on. Like, and then history books, I'm not really talking about that. So I'm sitting in a what $500-700 class with some other people. I mean, back then we didn't have phones,
right?
You know, and I'm just like, yo, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, and I'm trying very hard to stay awake, and I'm interested in that. Tell me about these techniques. Tell me, like, give me why, like what. How did they do this, that? Like I couldn't give a shit about certain things. Like it's that gap is just so, you know, art is constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. You see the AI art shit that's happening. Like it's gonna keep going from there. It's like you can't, you know, yeah, we're looking back then and it's like, okay, what's ahead of us?
So this is why we wanted to talk to you, but what was your first? Yeah, but
so what happened? So you dropped out of college,
right?
And then what happened?
And also, what were the toys that you were airbrushing, and like, what were the original toys that were inspiring you?
Dinosaurs. The little PVC dinosaurs that my sister had, and I would just look. You know, she was a kid, she was a baby.
Yeah.
I would just snatch them from her, like, because she'll forget, and then I'll just paint them. They came out dope. Actually, I remember now. I actually used it as part of an art show in my high school, on my way out. And I was like, and people, I remember people looking at them going, oh, wow, this is different. And because I didn't paint them like the way you see like a realistic Jurassic Park. I was giving them very wild palettes and stuff. And you know, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. What was the question? I deviated.
And then, from dinosaurs, like, was there a transition to designer toys?
Nah. I didn't know anything about designer toys until I remember my wife showing me a link, and I think it had to be 01 or 02. I forgot. I think it was like it was a Kid Robot, but they had this really bad logo. It was like a crappy logo they had, and she was looking at it, the stuff that was online. She was like, "This looks a lot like your stuff. You should contact them." And for those that know me, I'm super shy. Like I'm not someone that goes out and like really. If it takes a lot for me to reach out, like it's just it is what it is. It's just I don't know. I tried so many different ways. It's just I don't ever want to come off awkward, but I end up being awkward. So it's just I guess that's the artist, right? But
Humans.
Humans, yeah. So with that stuff, then I met no, actually, wait, before we go into that, I can't say that either, so I used to work for a toy company, right? I'm not gonna say which company.
Why?
So
are they still around?
I believe so.
Oh.
Actually, give me a second. This is Amazon. Hold on, right? I need to
It's gonna be
Let me just check.
It's gonna be one of those interviews.
Yeah, well,
And also, I like that sometimes when he's thinking, the whole room just goes dark around him.
It's the hat. It's the hat.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this conversation, though, is New York 2004, 2005 is the epicenter of this designer toy movement that we currently all are swimming in.
Yeah.
Like you were there for the birth and the epicenter of what was probably the pinnacle of designer toys in America.
Yes.
Wasn't the pinnacle 2020?
Huh? What? Okay, so wait. Forget about that toy company.
I can't talk about
you know why? Because it's gonna bring up things that I'm not gonna. Okay, so I was introduced to Ugly Dolls through them.
Okay.
But that's all I'll say.
Okay.
But I was also telling the owner. So the owner was, man, in 2002, he had to be maybe 40 years in business. So without education, and it's actually my 3 years working for that company was worth way more than I learned in college, because I got to understand how a business works and how art is applied, right? And especially in the commercial space.
Yeah.
So this company, it was okay. I got introduced to art, but I remember when he would show me the Ugly Dolls, and I was like, "Wow, we should really do this." And it just felt like I would talk to him about doing limited edition stuff, but I didn't really understand what I was talking about. I knew that it was just a gut feeling, because everything that they were doing was just straight for Walmart, Target, Hallmark, and it was I designed hundreds of lines.
So it was a mainstream toy company.
Huh?
It was a mainstream toy company.
Very mainstream. So I'm seeing them do things, because the stuff that I had to design was, a lot of it was for the Bible Belt.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I'm saying? So this is things I'm just like, what? Like, what is that? But I knew how to cater and do it.
Right.
But seeing how the Ugly Doll stuff was like, wow, this is just it's so against what this company does.
So how did you get that job? How did you fall into something in toys?
So, well,
there's probably
no. Well, look, me working for that toy company, I was very lucky to get that job, because he was looking for a pattern maker. I didn't know how to do patterns, but he did see my design sense, and he saw how I was just really out there with the way I approached projects. So I just felt like, all right, you know what? I'm here. I would become an art director. I would literally be the one doing so much of the work in that department in terms of the design. I became the art director. my desk was in front of his office, so I would overhear a lot of their business conversations. So this was like, this is the education.
Yeah.
And it went from inappropriate shit to illegal shit to you know, God knows what. And it was just like, but at the same time,
this is why you can't talk about it.
yeah, it is what it is. But it was just really like, wow, like it was such an education because of how unfiltered it was. You know, you when you know in front of a professor or a teacher, their curriculum is from a book. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they'll give you like some experience and tell you this and that. But
remember the movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
I don't watch it.
oh my God, yeah.
He goes to that
Barely.
class, and the guy's like writing the business lecture on the board, and he goes, "What about the mafia? What about the contractor? Who do you think's bringing in your fucking cement?" It's like, what about the kickbacks? You're not like, this is bullshit. Like,
Yo, actually, you know, it's funny that you're saying that, but it's like you there's so many people involved in the business, like you and how you have to
The politics.
especially back then. Yeah, the politics are very different now because everything's online.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, because it's like, all right, it's a very different game. But back then, I got to see like, all right, he's talking about when he used to produce the actual toys in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, like nothing was sent to China,
Right.
or Taiwan. Like, and that was like, wow. And then he would show me these steel die cut. I mean, that was a big lesson. Like, he taught me a lot, you know, and I'll never forget him for that. But from there, during when I was working there, I met Erick Nocella.
Okay.
Who's are you guys familiar with Erick? Erick, what does he go by? I know he goes by Erick Nocella. There's like an art handle, End. You guys familiar with him?
Mm.
So Argonaut Resins.
Oh,
yeah,
of course.
of course.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I just
For me,
I
when
recognize the
you're-
name and I'm like, I couldn't put it together. So.
Like this conversation, so like just brings me back to like 2010, 2011, like near Comic-Con, like when we were all first meeting.
Yeah.
You're like Argonaut
Really?
resin in the crack, like in the
But
crack of the
wasn't-
escalator.
that's not Comic-Con. That's Toy Fair.
Was
It's
that's
in
when
the
he
crack
does
of
in
the
the crack.
escalator.
It's both. It's both because I met. I forgot how I met Erick, to be honest with you. But I remember physically meeting him in a Toy Fair.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yo," and what I loved about Erick was how genuine.
Mm-hmm.
Erick, you know, I owe him a phone call, man. Damn. So he was just so open, so transparent, and then he took me to the Kid Robot Money launch party.
Yeah.
And that's where my head was blown. Like, where I was just, I remember this. It was like in a garage, no?
Probably.
Were you there? It was like a weird place. Huh?
The Money World, was it the Money World that we went to with Nick?
No, this
This
was
is before
before
that.
that. Yeah.
No, this is the launch. Like where there's like cafeteria style tables.
Yeah, I went to that.
The figures are there, and what was wild was I'm seeing these people drawing these figures. I'm like, yo, what is this? Like, what are they doing? And coming from the mass market to see this,
Mm-hmm.
it was like listening to some super poppy song, and then you're in like this exclusive underground, you know, grunge club, and you're just like, yo, what? And I see celebrities there. I was like, what is this shit? Like, what is this? Like, and I'm seeing executive people. It was weird. It was weird.
Was that the launch where they had all the celebrities do customs, and they had like Robin Williams and Gwen Stefani did one, and like it was a big fucking deal. It was like red carpet level celebrities doing customs. And
I
then
don't remember.
it was a bowl that they had goldfish in. Somebody like super famous.
No. It wasn't that one. No, it was. This was more. I don't remember the girl's name. I remember seeing the actress and this actor, and I was just like, "What are they doing here?" And then,
What year are you in right now?
this has to be like 04, 05, 06.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just like this is just bugged out. And then I remember they gave me
Manhattan.
Are you in Manhattan?
Yeah, this is in Manhattan.
Are we downtown? We don't like
it had to be. It wasn't at the Kid Robot store.
That's when Kid Robot's offices were on Houston and Broadway.
They weren't with the store. The store was separate to the offices back then.
Remember, it was in the cable building.
Yeah, but this looked like it was in a garage, from my memory. It looked like it was in a garage. It didn't look
Was it in Soho?
You're not gonna get this.
I'm just. I don't know.
Like,
you know what?
An animal or a mineral. Is it bigger than a bread box?
Sket would remember. Call him up and be like, "Hey, that garage in the garage."
Actually, that's actually a good point. Sket would remember.
Sket would remember.
This is where your mind was blown, and you were like, "Oh shit, there's an underground to this."
It was just yeah. It was just like what is this? And then I remember talking. I think it was 05 because I remember going back to my boss talking about it to him, and it just went over his head, and I felt really like damn. I felt frustrated.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, yeah, this is weird. Like, I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't understand what I was feeling. So 05, anyway, I lose my job. I didn't know what to do with myself. I get this gig with Nocella, Erick, where I manage one of the figures that he's doing. He sculpts. I get it produced overseas, and I think they won an award for it. And then this is like literally, oh hey, we need a logo, and I'm like, a logo for what? Oh no, we want to put you on the box, and it's just like, put me on the box? Why? Like this is where I'm like, and this is like the birth of ESC-TOY. Like I did 20 logos, and I chose the bird. And I remember thinking, that month, I was like, wow, I'm broke and I'm starting something new. And I know I have an idea of what I want to do with it. And this is where it was like, okay, I'm scared shitless, but I have a good feeling. I don't know how, it was the weirdest thing. And I was just like, wow, I could make this work. And my wife was super supportive.
Did you get
remember
married at like 15?
Huh?
Did you get married?
I've been with my wife maybe 28 years now. 20.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So yeah, she's been always. She always saw things in me that just I didn't see in myself, even with the clearest mirror. So to me, it's just like she's always helped me in so many ways. So she's the one that said, yo, you should try this and this and that. And I was like, all right, you know what? All right, I'm gonna make this work. I don't know how. And then it was like out of like just, okay, now I have ESC. And then shit would just happen. I get this, I meet this other guy that wants to do something for some corporate client. They don't exist anymore. Henry Bendel. I don't know if you remember. They used to have the store on Saks, Fifth Ave.
Oh, no.
And they I forgot how I met them. I end up doing like ferries, like 2,000 ferries. I mean, this was a very big deal. So it was like I get this gig, and it's my first corporate gig. And I remember, and this was such a real world thing, man, because it went from, okay, you just help us get this project, this designer toy made in China, to boom. It was like, that was like a freshman gig. Now I have a senior gig, and it's just like, okay, you need to get 2,000 ferries produced and flown in overnight. Yo, really think about this. They got to get 2,000 resin ferries made like by next week. And no, yo, even when I think about this, I still think about how I pulled that shit off. And I'm just like, wow, yo, God was with me, yo. Cause it was just like, I don't know how I did it. But I knew how to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I pulled bigger projects since then, but it's just, but that one was like, no, like I have no mentor. Like everything's on me. This corporate client, and I remember the guy, I forgot his name, the art director that gave me the gig. His hair was white, and he was like, a little bit older than me, and I could see how stressed he was, and he was looking at me like, listen, don't fuck this up, like, you know, like, because his head was gonna get cut off, and I'm looking at him like, yeah, no, don't worry about it. I'm gonna take care of it. I'm taking my head. Like, you know,
that's a New York story. Man.
Yeah, could you it now? Because I don't know if you could.
Could you get 2,000 fairies made in a week
for next week? Right now?
No. In resin?
Yeah.
Nah, what I did was that was like I don't know how I did it. I'll be honest, because so anyway, I pulled it off. I got the stuff delivered, and
you had it made in China.
I had to get it made in China because I remember there was someone
for you. They jumped in a week. They jumped for you in a week.
I made it work, and I remember it was in time for the Thanksgiving parade because they wanted to decorate their window with it.
Oh wow!
And I remember that was the pressure. So I didn't know what the fuck he was gonna do with them. All I knew was I had to get them done. He's paying me.
You have stories.
Well, you're reminding me of my Donna Karen story. So, and
I want to hear this.
I think my story happened in like 1998, 1999. I was in between. I had like dropped out of school. I had started my first animation company, and I was funding it by prototyping for Donna Karen. And so I would go to her offices on, like, not her, the corporate offices. You know where the big button is on 7th Avenue?
Yeah.
So right across from the giant button sculpture were their corporate offices. And so I would go there every day, and they'd be like, we need 16 boxes, different, with pine cones and and mock them up. And then I would set them up in a room, and I'd spray paint them all teal and blah, blah, blah. And they'd come in and go like, no. Okay, we like that one. Make 6 of, like, I was prototyping, literally just getting paid to prototype. And then I was taking that money and pumping it back into my animation studio. And so so many weird stories about that. But so specifically this one time, they were like, for Christmas, we want to make these necklaces. And so I went and fabricated out of resin ice cubes, these long 20-foot necklaces to hang in Donna Karen windows. And so then the manufacturer in China, they approved it. And then the manufacturer in China was like, no, we're not going to make it. It's going to be too difficult, whatever. And I was like, well, what's the budget? And they threw out a number, and I was like, I'd never heard a number like that before in my life.
What was the number?
Maybe $15,000. Like, I was, how old am I in 1990? No, it's got to be early. It's got to be 1996, 1997. It was
early. A lot of money to you.
It was a lot of money to me in 1996. Like, I was probably freshly dropped out of school. I'd never heard 50. Like, they were like, just wrote me a check for 15 grand. Like, I was like, I'll make them in my apartment, and they were like, okay. And so they needed, like, it was for 30 stores around the world. It was like, of necklaces. Like, these were going to like Saudi Arabia and Jakarta and like all over the planet. And so I literally wound up just recruiting like 6 people that I knew to sit in my apartment for 4 weeks. And like blood, people wearing like rubber fingertips. Like, I built a sweat factory in my apartment for like 4 weeks. For Donna Karen. And I was like, yeah, it's coming back to me now. I remember the apartment. I was living on 21st and 8th. If you know the city back then, there was a really amazing coffee shop across the street called Big Cup. It was like a big fucking gay hangout, but it was a great coffee shop. And I just happened to be living in Chelsea at the time because that's where my situation was. And we just produced this whole thing out of the apartment. And in the end, we probably made like 40 cents an hour. Like, by the time it was all said and done, but like somewhere I probably still have photos of the windows from around the world because they were like, you did a great job. And they sent me photos of like, it was all the Christmas windows.
Yeah. Holiday window. Yeah. This is always, we could relate to the shit. Yeah.
As you were telling me the story, I'm going like, this really reminds me of the Karen thing.
Yeah.
For Christmas windows, I was like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Day parade.
Crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after pulling that off, they brought me back the following year to do these. They actually gave me free reign for the design. They said just draw a flying. I remember what he said. It just draw a flying goose thing. And I was just like,
for a flying goose thing.
A flying
Great.
but he said, don't make it look like a goose though. and then he just went, and then his assistant came and was like, okay, you're gonna get the money. This, then it was like, look, I'm like, what just happened? Like what is he talking about, a goose thing? And
A goose thing, but not a goose.
yeah, and then I did something. I think it was like copper, gold, and silver, and I covered I covered the face and just made a subtle, slender gooseneck thing, and then they were like, okay. I remember I got it delivered, got it made, same rush, and then they decorated those birds as they're flying all the way up to the store. So Henry Bendel was like several levels.
Henry Bendel.
And I remember
department store.
Yeah, it was a high-end department store.
Starting to like, it's starting to sound familiar.
So they're no longer in business. Yeah. So
Gimbals is gone too.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like Gimbals.
No, Gimbals was massive. Henry Bendel is probably like much more high end.
Yeah,
So
it was super high end. Like
yeah,
yeah.
Like
So
2000 Crystal Fairs, high end. Yeah.
So it is not crystal, resin. They were like red. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, from there, then it went from consulting on other people's projects to designing my own stuff. And my first official figure on the scene was the Liberty, which was with Kaching.
Ching produced it.
Kaching Brands, which I'm pretty sure a lot of guys that work with them. I'm not gonna go into that. They all work.
We're here to dish dirt. We're here to dish the dirt.
But Kaching's not around anymore, right?
I don't know. I mean, God bless them. I mean,
yeah, but is that the one?
I don't know. She's green.
She's green. Because he's done multiple versions of it. So I'm
which ones?
I'm looking for an image of it from back in the day.
Oh, the first Liberty?
That's good. Yeah.
Found
an image.
Share it. Let me see.
All right. I'll just share my search because hang on.
It was on Tramped.
Probably.
Oh, if it's on Tramped, then yeah, that's right.
Let me see. It's on Tramped.
Here you go. I'm gonna figure out how to add it.
I think that Tramp should sponsor Clutter Live.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's the one that came in the brown box. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were paying me a very tight royalty.
I don't know how to make it bigger.
Huh?
I don't know how to make
it. I think. Oh.
You can zoom in like this.
Yeah, I don't even have that in my collection.
Really?
Yeah, I sold so many of them. Like till this day, I still sell Liberties. Not that version. I sell the anniversary ones. So I even sell it to the Statue of Liberty shop on the Ellis Island. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that was my first.
Here it is.
First figure.
Alex, how do I switch it so it's bigger?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks pretty tight like this, though. There you go.
There you go.
Oh. All right. So here it is.
How long was the that money show you're talking about before you came out with this? What's the time period?
It has to be 12 to 24 months because it went pretty quick. Like when I jumped in, I started getting just putting, ESC was getting gigs. Then I started like, okay, I got to start working on my stuff. And I was selling customs, but some of them would sell, some of them wouldn't.
Well,
But-
look, this is from 2007. Look at that, February 2007.
Which computer?
Because
Yeah, but I don't know if that's when they. Oh yeah.
because
That's right.
remember, New York Comic Con used to be February.
Yeah, you're right. No. I remember that signing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Erick Scarecrow at New York Comic Con.
it sold out within the first hour when I was signing. I remember that.
Wow.
Yeah.
There he is. Look at you.
Yeah.
Baby.
I remember that.
That was at Toy Tokyo's booth. There you go. 100 pre-release figures of the standard green colorway. 300 total plus additional colorways.
What year was that?
2007.
2007.
Yeah.
Each one was going for how much? 125.
Does it say? I don't think it says. Let's zoom in on this picture of you. There you are.
My God, that's. I am so young there. Like,
Yeah, you don't look so war weary.
No. It doesn't say how much it was.
I don't remember how much they. I remember. I remember selling the blue one.
Oh, we've
Wait, that's
jumped-
09. That's
we've
that's
jumped a few
different.
years now. This is your own
Yeah.
stuff. All right, we'll save this.
$25 with the Little Liberty.
The anniversary one. Yeah. I think it's between 25 and 40. Yeah.
You have
But-
so many
I can't
fucking
fix the
toys on
layout.
Trent. You have
Yeah, because he has so many toys. That's
487 toys on Trent.
That's not all of it. That's
No, you
there's
have
a lot more.
characters, which was the thing that always blew my mind at New York Comic Con. Of all the people and all of the toy companies and all of the designers, you always had so many characters produced, and most of them, it's like a lot of them you would just make yourself too. So it was just like,
Yeah. That's with no exaggeration. I have a very large body of work. Like, I mean,
Yes.
I've been designing creating going back to the 90s.
do you know how many figures you have of your own? Not that you've designed for other people, but your own original figures.
No, I lost count.
No idea.
Like,
Yeah,
it's just too
too many.
So that was your first figure though,
first official vinyl figure. Yeah,
not including customs. And
I wouldn't include the customs because
and
to
not,
me,
not including other platform toys that you appeared on, like you had done Dunnies at that point.
no, I Kid Robot we've spoke about it in the past, but officially I never had
Official
Dunnies.
Dunnies. What's this?
No.
No, it's customized,
No.
legal custom that Erick made.
Okay. Because I'm like, that looks like a production
That's
Dunny.
an illegal resin cast, so let's not talk about that.
I always I always wanted to see what would happen if we ever got together, but I mean that was back then,
I mean, you must have some more Kid Robot stories from back in the
Yeah,
day.
you must have some good.
You
Kid
must
Robot
have a
stories.
really good Kid Robot story. Like, I think you were
I'm
making
thinking about the ones I could say.
was it the one where you were like making a documentary or something, or like maybe.
Look, if Kid Robot closed down, I would tell everything. Like, but I don't want to
Kid
say
Robot basically don't exist anymore, so it's fine.
If
mean,
what would you say?
I said Kid Robot basically don't exist. Is that
Dude, I'm
No.
CZ and Dragon have a release coming up with Kid Robot.
Well,
and
they still exist, but they're naked.
I've
now,
got a
so
release.
I mean, no. If nah, I mean, okay, I'll say some other.
I'm just like trying to pull out.
No, I don't. Yeah, no. If it was like a defunct company, I would I'll go all in. But it was just no. It's one of those things that we've
You did
spoken. I mean,
behind the scenes espionage on them to see what was going on in Kid Robot, and you learn a lot, and then you learn.
oh my god,
Oh my God.
Miranda has a good memory, yo. Like,
Well,
look, I'll be honest. I was really impressed with what they were doing, and I think Paul was running it at the time. Yeah, Paul was running it. So I'll say the crew at the time. It's Paul, Nicole,
Chad.
Chad,
There's another one.
Shannon. I think Shannon was there. I'm not sure. I think this is when Huck was running the Cali operation, right? The store. Okay. Yeah, I was very impressed with what they were doing, and you know, when you look at, so okay, I'm not gonna say his name, but there's a guy that owns a toy. You know, he's part of the scene around this time, and one day him and I, this guy's usually he's not that friendly. Like he's just, you know, and don't say his fucking name. Just you'll figure it out.
Okay.
Don't say his name.
Don't say his name. Don't say his name.
Watching this show, there's no information. There's just hidden meaning.
Yeah, but he was doing his thing prior to Kid Robot, and I remember this story where, damn, I'm thinking if I should say this, because you know I've been doing this for 18 years, so it's like you collect these stories, like and then you know.
Yeah, next year.
Or experiences, you know.
Next
so
year is 20 years for me, Eric. Next year.
20
years of the magazine, yeah. Next
year. You understand. So it's like I remember okay, so this guy, which you guys know,
who shall not be named, this guy that we all know. Yep.
Yeah, we normally he blows me off, he treats me like shit, like, and I was like, all right, you know what?
Was he in this weekend show here at Clutter?
No. He's anyway, I'm not gonna say. I don't want to say too much. Okay. Anyway, so this guy, he's very business, very business, and he was very short with. And whenever I try to talk to him, he would just like give me like, okay, get out of here. And I was like, okay, you know, I was like, oh wow, this guy's just that busy, and he made me more curious. And then when he found out that I did the Liberty, he was like, oh, you're the artist, and then. It was like I got to see this whole other side of him, and then this is when he starts to really tell me things. And he would talk about how he started, and which I appreciate. We spoke for like 4 hours, and Daniel told me about Paul and Kid Robot, and he goes, "Oh, these guys, you know, he'll just go in on them." And I'm like, "Yo, why does this guy have such a like he has such a thing against Kid Robot?" And it had to be with something with Kim from 3-0. I don't know if you guys remember Kim from 3-0. Okay. Of course. So he goes, I remember this one time when he was begging Kim to show him the designer toy business. I was there. I'm just like, and to me, I just didn't care. Like it wasn't like I was desperate or anything to like break in or anything. I was just like, yo, okay, I see what's going on. I think because of my experience in the mass market side, I was coming from something that was way bigger and going into this thing, looking around like I just didn't care. Like I was just like, I'm just gonna do, because at one point I understood that my biggest competition was myself. It wasn't going to be anyone. It was always going to be the shit that I would wake up in my head with. Always, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, this doesn't look right. I'm not, it's always something. And I always felt like, okay, yeah. So when I would meet like other artists, whatever, I'm just like, okay, when I meet these guys that own shops, I'm like, more interested to see what's their discipline on running a business. Because I know an artist, like we're very moody, we're very this, we're very that, and you know, I know when I meet someone that has an ego and they don't really want to talk, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't faze me. Like I'm actually wanting to know the shop owner, like why are you picking up this? Like how are you selling it? Like, and you know, and that was like I was more interested in knowing the shop guys. Mm-hmm. And that's for me, like when like Kid Robot, what they were doing, it was just so different. So yeah, I mean, I got my way into their office, and when I saw their production board, I was just like, wow, this shit doesn't make any sense. It's like they're kind of doing anything and everything and seeing what works. Maybe that was the genius of it, you know, because I remember I've seen Kid Robot projects that never got produced.
Oh, many of them. Yeah.
And I was like, yo, why didn't they make this? And it was just, it just felt like it was a train that was running on tracks that went like zigzag in the sky, this way, that way, and
but you know what I think that is? That's like a fashion thing. When you're doing like such stuff, it's really so dependent on what people are collecting, what people like, what the current trends are, what the fashion is right now.
Yes.
So you know, I call you up. I'm like, hey, Eric, I really love that design you've just put out. Let's make that as a toy. And then 6 months later, by the time that toy's gone through all the different variations and it's ready to come out, everyone's moved on, and that toy isn't relevant anymore. So I think that in this small bubble of what we are working is the problem with that. So you have to kind of be able to be flexible with it, because it's so driven by what people want in that moment. Whereas the mass market isn't. The mass market isn't that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, because especially with the tech and how they were executing projects back then.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure it would have been a whole different game if they had access to the 3D printing shit that I do now.
Sure.
Like they would, it would just, you'll see releases just every day. Yeah. You know, but yeah, you're right. That's a very good point, especially when you're producing vinyl PVC.
Yeah.
You're 4 to 6, 8 months out.
Yeah, I know we're into that even now, where we like jump on something, we produce it, and then it's like you get to the point of delivery and you're like, oh, it's going to fall flat now because the world's moved on. Yeah. Especially like, the world is so fast paced now too. Like just trying to keep up with that like trend is really difficult. So no, that's a very good point.
We have an insane project that we've been working on for 2 years, and we got the vinyl prototypes like a month ago.
Oh yeah. This is a good one.
And I can't say who it's for.
No, it's for another company, another big like brand.
And it's just something that like actually fits our core values. So we're like, okay, because we don't make toys that aren't art toys, but this one was like, this is a really, really weird exception. Yeah. Because it's so tied to our core values as a brand. So we're like, okay, we're gonna make this toy with this other company. And we're literally got the vinyl prototypes in hand. It took probably 18 months between
a lot of approvals on their end,
all the rigmarole, everything.
You know, when you're working with those companies.
And that brand is currently canceled.
Oh shit!
Like not political, not like a political.
Not. It's canceled. Its fans have canceled it.
Oh really?
Yeah, and then it can. It's because it's such a big brand. It can be resurrected. It's just, it has to go through the life cycle of now being resurrected.
I figured out what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
We'll talk about it.
We can talk about it offline. But like,
I figured it out. Okay.
Fans are angry at this brand right now, and the brand will come back because
yeah.
A lot of people invested in making sure that it does come back. It hasn't done something so weird, egregious. Yeah. It's
no. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But like we're sitting here going like, wow, that took us 18 months to get to this point where we're just like, look at this amazing thing, and it's like, oh, okay, now we're just like,
yeah. So
all right, sitting on our hands, like nothing we can do about it. Like
crazy,
adding like $1.50 will get you nothing.
So back to the original point, which was how they had to be nimble, but also that you coming from like a mainstream production where you're like everything's scheduled, everything has a plan, everything's like, in a framework, and they're just like throwing shit at the wall and being like, well, I like this design, I like this design, that is cool, and you're just like, what the fuck is happening here?
Isn't that interesting too, that like with the big companies, they tell us what we're going to buy for Christmas.
Yeah.
Like you turn on the local news and they go, what's hot for Christmas this year? And it's like, well, Mattel managed to squeak out this weird robot thing, and that's going to be a toy for us. And everyone's like, oh shit. And the kids just go like, well, that's what I need, because they're there's still a level of like push consumerism
Yeah.
that is real at that level.
Yeah, I mean, I think, but I think that's the impression of the Kid Robot schedule, right? Like where you're looking at it going, oh wow, this is like anything and everything goes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's on a whiteboard, like where this is gonna erase tomorrow, or in the next 30 minutes, if whatever.
So was that scary to you, or that was an inspiration to you?
It was an inspiration. It was both, because one was it made me look at it and say, if you want to try to compete with this brand, you're gonna need investors.
Mm-hmm.
And having investors to compete against Kid Robot, and I had ideas, but did I really want to compete against them? Like, to me, it felt more like I kind of wanted to see what I could do if I didn't have that pressure of, like, especially coming from the mass market job where I had to design so many lines and keep it that don't use black, don't use this, like the Bible Belt doesn't like this, and it's just like it was always this thing where I was just like, okay, I already came from that. To me, I'm just like, wow, I want to go from, I'm trading one set of pressures for a whole nother magnitude to like go and get a drum of VC money to like, try to create a brand.
Yeah.
To compete.
At the time too, you have to think that they had multiple store locations. They had
a lot of bills.
When they did a drop, they had lines around the block. Like nobody, even to this day, can match the kind of openings that Kid Robot used to do. Like,
yes,
were the gold standard of how to fucking do this shit.
Yeah.
They just were. People came.
I totally agree. I mean, it was seeing. So when you go see, like, looking at the schedule, like, it's inspiring, it's scary. Yeah. I mean, it was at the same time. Yeah, you're looking at the inspiration because you're like, okay, they're doing what they want.
Yeah.
And I really, I miss that. I'm gonna be honest, like straight up, I miss it because it was I felt like they were a very big part of the culture, and it was just going into the shop. It was like you get to see what was new, and it was just good to see the art.
Yeah,
it was inspiring.
It was, and they had those giant signings, and just the crowd of people that would come along, and just the community of just like-minded people hanging out outside Kid Robot, being excited about it was just looking back on it now, it was just one of the best times to just be like around it.
And I feel like what we've experienced, it really needs to be like documented.
Yeah.
Because it was happening on two different coasts. If you really think about this, it was happening in New York and Cali, and you have so many stories there from
the problem is when we start telling these stories, do you name names? Like, you write a Toy Confidential,
but you can tell these stories. There's just so many stories you can't tell about companies that have come and gone, and the reasons and the rationales.
Well, I mean, like, we're willing, like, I know that we're willing to tell the Dude Box story publicly because they went up in flames.
They were later
so hard that there's no one left to offend.
No.
You know what I mean?
Were you around for Dude Box? Do you remember Dude Box?
I remember Robert and Claire Beecham. They were very good to me. I never officially got to do any projects with them.
That was
but they were very, I have to say, they were very. Robert and I had a conversation one time, and he comes from mass market,
right?
Star Wars,
Bubble Bath.
Right, Bubble Bath.
Very good memory. So I remember having a conversation with him, and then I was another individual very similar to Robert, that had the the same experience, having success in mass market stuff, and then wanting to do, just fun, just have fun. Like, life is too short. And him and Robert, without knowing each other, said the exact same thing to me a year apart, and it motivated me to keep pushing ESC in a certain way. Like, honestly, like I'll be very honest. I remember that conversation with Robert, and it was just like, huh?
What was it that he said that pushed you?
Don't like you work for these big brands, they'll just take from you.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll make them plenty of money, and then they'll fire out the executives or whoever you were working with, you had a relationship with, and they won't care about what you've done.
I mean,
but
that's true. That's
That's
absolutely true.
life
That's our
in a
experience
nutshell.
of working with the big brands too. Like,
and
I feel like there's like a kiss of death. Like, every time you get into these situations where you feel like something's going to pop, it dies or it goes sideways, and it's like this.
Yeah.
And you
I mean,
that on many levels, of which you can't talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
But
what he was talking about, like, was like, just having fun with it. The experience that the other experiences where you work with individuals or groups, when you know them for so long, and then they breach certain things. That's just, look, this is part of business. Like, this is just part of the game. Like, if you think you're gonna be exempt from it, no one is. Like, it's just the nature of how we are. Like,
right.
People, like, people won't either want to give to you, people want to take from you, and the more you have to offer, there's people that want to give and work with you, and then there's people that want to take as much as they can.
Right.
And it's just, look, we've been doing this for almost 20 years, so it's like, there is no way around that. No way around it. Like, and sometimes I really try to think of like soundproof, business models, and it's just like, no, shit. Even if I sold the sun, they'll complain. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, it's, and it's just like, no, it's just, this is just part of the game. Like,
the thing I always hold Dude Box up as an example of is how in the designer toy world, whatever we want to call it, you can't buy your way in. It doesn't matter how much money you've got. It's not about that. It never is about that. And they're a classic example of somebody that came in who wanted to buy their way into this, and it failed miserably because they spent so much money. They spend so much. Austin mentions that NYCC they did one year. They spent so much money just doing that New York Comic Con, and all they did was fight with Kid Robot the whole time they were there.
Fight with Kid Robot? Why?
Because Kid Robot's line wrapped around their booth, and they were pissed off about it. So they had a fight on the floor of New York Comic Con about it. Like,
are you serious?
Oh yeah, yeah. And that booth.
You see, this is why this needs to be documented. There's just so
big that it has to be built by the union. So they spent, hundreds. Like,
I think it was $60,000.
Yeah,
I think it was $60,000.
$60,000 just showing at New York Comic Con, just building the booth and getting it all set up. Not the toys.
And then no one bought the toys on Thursday or Friday. So on Saturday he cut everything. Discounted all the product, and that was the end.
And they just came in and threw money at people. They threw money. Ron had those giant Dude Boxes. Like,
I think they set them on fire.
Yeah, they just delivered them to him one day and was like, "Here, paint these." Like,
Ron painted them.
Yeah.
And then eventually they went back to Ron's, and I think he burned them in his front yard. Or he gave.
Serious?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was wild stories about that company.
Look, I agree. I mean, you can't buy it. I mean, look. I'm not saying this because I like Robert and Claire. I'm just saying that,
Well, it's nothing
'cause
against them. It's nothing against them. Like he bought that company for his son. His son liked toys, and he wanted to do something cool for his son. And then like they hired.
Oh,
Suchi.
really?
Yeah, and they hired Sichi in London, who was my friend in London. He worked for like Ad Frontier. He had a gallery in London. We used to throw shows down there all the time with him. So they hired him to try and like get it off the ground. But also they were in England. So now you're stuck with like, if you import the toys to England, you're fucking stuck with them in England.
Oh yeah,
There's
yeah.
not a market for them there. So there's like multiple reasons why it didn't work. But you know.
And also, I remember, he was designing platforms in his own mind.
Didn't Tristan design one?
No, Pete Fowler
Did
designed
one, yeah.
something, and then I think Tristan may have designed. He
They
didn't design
did
platform.
something
No, but
for
they
them,
came in
yeah.
with these sort of corporate focus grouped platform concepts, and they weren't. It didn't come up from an artist. It came from them going, these.
Like,
I remember.
Eric,
I
have
remember.
an idea. Design this. That's how it came up.
I remember my conversation with them. I remember exactly where I was. I remember the room I was in, and he started showing me these toys, and he was saying, "These kids love these things. We want to give them more. Like we want to make these things." And I was like, "No one likes these forms that you're showing." I didn't say this to him, but it was like, "No one actually loves the forms that you're showing me. You just decided to make these forms." He was coming like what I just said about the Mattel
I'm gonna get
concept.
one.
Was
Hang
like,
on. Have a piece of history. That's cute.
He thought that the way you break into the designer toy scene is to go like, I made this, here, you buy it. And it's like, no, artists make something, go like, do you like this? And they go like, yeah, and then you make more. He came in with that concept like, well, we're gonna make these things and everyone's just gonna buy them because we're like sheep. That was sort of the mentality. And so that, we know that there's a million great art.
Here's a dude box. This is a Pete Fowler one from back in the day.
Like we saved it in the box.
Yeah,
like,
it's never
the
been
box
removed.
is as important.
I actually like the box. Can you take the figure out? I don't remember these.
I'll take it out.
This one, I
Is it sealed? Is it sealed or?
It's falling apart because of the glue. This one, I believe, we have a bunch of dude box shit all over the place. This one is from that New York Comic Con that we were just talking about. They
Can't
launched
believe you're
this.
touching it.
Yeah, it's the first time it's ever been taken out of the box.
This is a
Thanks,
live
Eric.
unboxing.
Yeah, here it is. This is one of their like.
I actually like it. I like what Pete did though.
Yeah, well, Pete's awesome. So Pete's gonna.
I mean, yeah. You got a good point.
Period stopped Pete making toys for a while there. He stopped because it was such a crazy experience.
Yeah.
He was probably not getting paid.
I mean,
who got paid? Everybody got paid up front.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They threw the money around.
Yeah, everybody got paid.
No. Hold on. I wasn't talking about Dubox. Dubox actually pay people?
Oh yeah, everyone got paid up front.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Very, very different from other models other business models from that.
Notice how they're not around anymore because it was just about them throwing money around, and all the artists didn't respect that. All the artists were like, "All right, give me your money." Took the money, all of them. None of them liked the products. You go and talk to any of the artists that worked with them, all of them were like, "Nah, I just took the money." So
it's just not the right way to come into the scene.
Yeah.
No. I mean, not for this scene because of how artist driven it is.
Artist driven. Dubox wasn't artist driven. It was artist bought.
Yeah, I mean it's funny because if you say this was like a music
something that Eric will talk about.
I was like, we
spent like 2 hours going on like a stream of consciousness with Eric where he's like starts to talk about something and then doesn't talk about it.
This is just every conversation with Eric.
Right? Am I right, everybody out there?
Right? To Eric.
Right? Eric
you get off the phone with Eric, you're like, what did we just talk about? I'm not sure.
Yeah. What did he say? Right? Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought we signed an NDA. He still didn't tell us anything. Oh my God. So let's talk about AI.
Well,
We could
sure.
talk-
Yeah, that's not going anywhere. I mean,
So, but
it's
hang on. Well, you're jumping way ahead. So you made
only
your
have-
own company to make your own toys.
Yeah.
You started producing your own figures. You started resin casting your own figures, right? And
yeah.
so
When the first resins were the Super Marias.
and
so
you learned
so
how
were
to
you
do that.
were you resin casting in Queens?
Yeah, silicone mold. Yeah, and
how
I
many people
remember.
For you in
Huh?
Queens? How many people did you have working for you in Queens?
Man, no. It was always less than a handful. It wasn't like, no. If anything, it would be like my wife and I, or I remember I had one guy working for me. He was really, really good with like just vectors and shit. But no, it wasn't like when I came to Vegas is when it really took off.
Right.
But like doing the resins and stuff, like
You
I
used
don't
to
remember.
make a lot of them though. You used to make a lot of them.
Yeah, I used to crank them out hard, like just because I felt that doing the resin, and it's the same mentality I have now with the 3D printing. It's just okay. How I know now, I'm looking at projects that didn't have to wait 4 to 6 months. Vinyl PVC, I could do things within like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, or a day, right? Like, so it was just like, man, okay. And then that's when I started to really go in, and it wasn't that I was trying to. I think I was just trying to see how much can I do before I go crazy.
And what was the answer?
Oh, I went fucking crazy. So it was just like it's just I hit that breaking point. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, yo, what did I do?
And
But-
did you sculpt everything too by hand?
No. This was a lot of these were done with clay that I used to work with someone else.
Okay.
He used to do the clay sculpts, but no, I didn't. No, but now everything I do is in 3D. But no, it was just how fast can I go? And I mean, I was, and people could correct me. There wasn't anyone that was releasing at my clip, like that.
Oh.
It was, and that was. I just wanted to see how far can I go before going like crazy, like, and it was just like I wanted to see how far, how fast, how many, what kind of techniques I could do, like what, just keep going, just see what happens. And it just then this is where my work would catch the eyes of because I was never really good with promoting myself online. To this day I'm not. It's just even like at events I could be shy, whatever. It's just people would catch wind of what I do and then approach me, and I mean, like, collectors from all kinds of places. And this is where, okay, so my body of work, all this stuff I just put out, now it's bringing in people that just want to work with me, or they're just buying, they appreciate the art. So yeah, that's like the New York. I'm not letting nobody in to my apartment. I don't want them to see like how I'm doing this. Like, I was very secretive. And then another thing too is what people thought ESC was like this like it was like a studio and shit. It wasn't nothing like that, man. Like, my wife and I, we were sleeping on the air mattress. We deflate the mattress to bring inventory in. We sacrificed a lot, like, to make this work. And it was just, I just felt that because I had the opportunity to really, like, I don't know, like, I felt like I want to say this the right way. I have the business, I have the, I'm selling things, and I'm making my artwork. It was like, was thinking a lot. I always reflect like that about that education I had at SVA, where they were like, "Yo, you don't belong here because you're not even asking about art technique. You're asking business questions, and I don't know how to answer them." And I remember the professors telling me like, "Yo, you don't belong here. Like you gotta go."
Right.
And I remember.
Let me ask, do you want to? Are we hold? I have a logistical question. Are we holding to our hard stop?
He has a hard stop.
Yeah, I have a hard stop.
20 minutes.
So then, can we see some of the work that you're making? I'm just going to cut you off hard.
Well, I also want to know where the inspiration for those original characters came from. They're all like, especially, I mean, the Liberty's New York. So is it all just like New York coming out of you through your lens, or just...
No, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I grew up. I mean, I grew up so much on under like Eastern influence, like when also like even like the gaming. Like as I told you, I mean, my parents, they kept us in the apartment because they didn't want us, you know, the outside was rough.
Yeah.
You know, those, you know, so what did they do? They shoved game. I mean, it was unhealthy. You know, but the games, like that was it gave us such an impression. So yeah, this stuff is like, it influenced my art big time. Like, you know, and this is where a lot of my stuff inspiration comes from. So
and continue in that gaming world like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would eventually design my own card game, you know. Now, you know, I'm a game designer, so it's just like, yeah, I mean, I think that was like another hard thing to do, was to really see myself do other things, like write a book, you know, design a trading card game and design a digital game. So it's like, artists, you know, when they hear artists, they always, oh, you just draw, you know, and you know, I kind of look at artists like creativity is what separates us from animals, yo. So to me, it's like, you really think about, you know, whether you're writing a law, performing a dance, doing a medical procedure, you know, that's, you know, these things, man, you know, you have to be creative to figure certain things out. Even in what AI could get so sophisticated, this now, that shit's learning from us.
Mm-hmm.
We're the creative ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's us. That this is, we're the ones teaching it what to do.
Yeah.
That shit isn't sitting somewhere going, oh, I'm gonna do this. AI will never reach that, because it's gonna still emulate us. What it thinks is genuine, what it thinks is real, it's us. That's why it's always gonna be called artificial. We're the natural ones. We're the ones that, you know, that it's mimicking. But yeah, I mean, I think any artist that, you know, on that journey, they're gonna evolve and try different things, and I think that's a healthy thing to experiment, because you stay doing the same thing over and over. I mean, that's crazy. So,
can you show us some of your new work?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be releasing this bad girl tomorrow. This is my V3 Liberty
version 3.
Yeah, version 3. We make these in house, which I'm very proud about. So this is the all black, and it's dope, man. It feels like, you hear that? It's hollow, like vinyl, and it's just. I got this one, huh?
Closer.
I'm sorry.
Nice.
Wow.
It's super sleek, and then I have this litmus version I'm gonna release too.
Look at that.
And so it comes out of the machine like that?
No, hell no. That's like 5-10 years away. No, it comes out on supports on the plate after it prints, and then we go in, remove the supports, wash it, and then let it dry, and then cure it. Make sure we take off all the supports, double check, and then we sand it down a little bit, and then we cure it, and then we paint it, and then we cure it again. So
it's still quicker than resin casting it.
holy shit, yo, look, I had told you guys in the last call, my output is that I could do at least 400 units a week.
Wow.
So I was never at that level previously. Like, whereas unless you're producing final figs, obviously it's in the thousands,
Yeah.
But
I have
3D
two other
printing.
questions to ask you about that, but I'm not going to ask you publicly.
Okay. Oh yeah. And then this is the other one that I did today. What I like about it, I won't put it against this. So this actually, I warped the model on purpose.
Yeah.
And I actually really like. I love how this came out. Like, it looks like Dali did it or something.
Yeah.
So, but
and so
yeah,
who's your market right now? Do you feel like your market is the designer toy scene? Who's your fan base? Because I feel like you've evolved so much over the years. Are you in your own bubble?
I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know. All I know is I appreciate them. I love them. I have no idea. Because I feel like, these people that really, really dig into my work, they'll see that I've done work for a bunch of video game companies, and created like multi-million-dollar businesses for them. And, this is where it's like, you really dig and you see who I've done, like what I'm behind and what I've created for them. Like, that's when they go, oh, shit, you're behind, you're the one that did this. I was like, yeah, but and it's not public.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. Because when I did a show out here called Level Up, which is like the #1 event here, and it was a very big test for me, because this is the very first time I would sell 3D printed figures alongside my vinyl mass produced stuff next to plush and all this other stuff. And the 3D printed figures, the releases, outsold everything. And I sold out of certain things like instantly. And it was pressure for me, because I was like, damn, I just got into 3D printing in July, and I was like, whoa, I was hesitant, but I had a feeling, and my cousin, he walked me through it, and I'll always be grateful to him for that. He showed me a lot of the ropes remotely, and when I started off with 2 machines, and then now I'm up to, I think, 8-9 machines within less than a year. Because I mean, the thing about that is, like, producing the work in house and at this rate that I'm doing it, it's like like this to me. And then seeing the feedback of it through the show, it's like, man. And the questions from hearing from a younger generation of artists are asking me, yo, man, I really want to do this. What do? I have a 3D printer. And I was like, oh shit. And I was very open to telling them, like, hey, just keep testing this, try this, And I see, like, there's this whole, I feel like there's going to be like a renaissance with this, because 3D printing, I'm using machines that didn't exist like 5-6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So what's 5-6 years from now? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where it's like, damn, if I'm doing this kind of work, like what's gonna be ahead of us? And
robots. I mean, lots of robots.
Robots, yeah. I mean, and and I do see the benefits of it, and it's just, I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know. I hate to say this, and it sounds like a really bad answer, but if any good way to answer who my community is, like, who are the people that appreciate my work, I think it's just people that really love what I do, and they know what I've done, and and they really are into my catalog and stuff. So I mean, it's a good question. I try to answer that a lot for myself, because I'm like, damn, and look, if there's anything I always try to be, is I'm very diverse too. Like I never stay, in one mode. Like I constantly, I always try different things, and at least that's what I'm known for too now. Like, you could see the cutest thing and then the most violent thing come from me. And I think that's just, as an artist, we have different emotions, and this is me expressing myself, which, I mean, you guys understand that. So, but I think that's the best way I can answer that.
It's a good answer. I pulled out a magazine that you're interviewed in. So, this is one. We don't have any of these left, which is sad.
That was
we have
a very popular issue.
I have 2 copies of that issue.
Two? Well, they're really rare. I think I have 3 copies, maybe. Like,
Yeah, we have them in the safe.
yeah, it's still, there's none of these left. So, because you're
Mark did that interview.
Yes,
I remember when Mark and I sat in a diner.
No.
Which Mark?
Mark, I got a Mark that used to write for us.
Oh,
Yeah, DeAngelis. Yeah.
oh, yeah, right. Dude, how many years ago was that? I don't remember.
This was probably 2009.
Yeah, it was over a long time ago.
It was
Yes.
later than that.
Not much later.
Yeah.
Maybe 2000. Well, it should tell us because it has its own toy awards in here. What else is in here? This was the best.
Oh man, do you remember?
So it's got the interview with Nag 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 in here, and really funny.
You got so much beef for this.
So yeah,
Don't
because-
fuck with Safubi if you can't handle the heat.
also his answers are really short, so
Right.
we just made it look like it's really long,
Like,
but we're redacted.
I interviewed him on the floor of
was
New York
great.
Comic Con, and I would ask him this, like, what I thought was like a profound question, and his answer would be like, "Yes." You know what I mean? So like, I walked over with this interview that had like,
Yeah,
almost
here's a
nothing.
question. What's your favorite food? Women, specifically pussy, was his answer. So
Are you serious?
yeah.
yeah. That's
And
the
so
answer.
it was like,
Let me
how
go
are we
back
gonna?
and read
So it was
it.
like, how are we gonna bulk out this interview? And it was like, oh, why don't we make it look like most of it's redacted?
Yeah, that was smart.
But yeah, it pissed Shigeru off so fucking. He was mad, so mad. He was like, I don't even think he understood. I apologize.
This is how long
if you're
ago
watching.
it is, because there's an ad in here for Inaction Figures 2.
Okay,
So it was 9 years ago.
there you
So
go.
there you go.
Wow,
Okay.
man.
But yeah, and there's
Those are like the good old days. Those
Yeah.
very, very fun time. Very, very
Mhm.
fun time.
Are you using AI to ideate?
I checked AI to see how much of it is using my shit, and
Are you using it for to go through your own ideas, to accelerate your own thinking?
I wish I could use AI. I'm gonna be straight up. If I could plug my head into something and just shoot out what what comes to me. So my problem is this: I have a hard time turning my creativity off. I'm be very honest with you guys.
Mhm.
Like it's a very hard thing for me. I remember when I used to walk my dog. Every day I get a story idea. Every day I get something, and I'm just like, yo, this is it. Sometimes it overwhelms me. AI, I think it's gonna look. I see some dope shit come out of there. It's getting harder for me to differentiate what's actually real art and then generated art.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing people come in, like, especially if I do like a portfolio review where they're using AI art and they're telling me, and other ones are not telling me. And when you ask them to replicate and reproduce whatever they're showing, and you see what they're doing, like, yeah, this is not you know, they're lying. I don't know. I know you and I we spoke about this because I had said, well, you look at hip hop beat making and how much of that is cut. It's taking this, it's taking that, and it's forming something new. But that producer that's making like the beat, he's using all these samples, but it's still that individual that's cutting it up and putting it together. Hence why I think the copyright office recently said, well, if the artist is using AI and they're adding their own work to it, now it's going to get registered. Whereas before, if it's a machine making, you're not going to get registered.
Right.
This is not going to go anywhere. Like, this is going to get way more sophisticated, but I do see like some interesting opportunities with it though, because if when you talk about animation, and you know how hard it is to do animation, are we 5 years away from, okay, Josh, let's do a 10-minute animation, and let's fuck around and do some prompts, and we'll generate the characters, we'll generate this, we got the voiceover, we got the music. It's just the two of us, and we're generating all these assets, and then here we go, and then we oh, it's 15 minutes. We just created content like that with animation. Is that 5 years away? Is it 3 years away? Is it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, okay, so if we're able to create things like that, then they thought things were saturated now. Like, they don't have no idea.
But don't you think
coming.
it's going to have the opposite effect? Because it's going to become so saturated that it's going to actually make more of a space for traditional artists to come in? Because people are going to want to like something that's real again? Real, quotation marks?
Can I answer that question?
Sure. It was a question for the...
I think that it's going to fracture us. I think that you're going to have a vast majority of people who are going to be consumed by that deluge of insanity that you're talking about, a volume of content, and then you're going to have undergrounds and subgenres. Because I think that's what's happening right now. Like,
but didn't we already see kind of that with the NFTs situation? Like,
NFTs were different. That was like almost an anomaly, like a tech anomaly.
Yeah, that's different.
Content, like, because I see.
Sure.
We have 2 minutes. You know, I've spent blah blah blah. I don't even know if I want to say it. I'll just say it. You know, I'm a content creator from the 90s. I used to make cartoons. I just spent we were there before. I think Erick froze.
No,
I'm here.
Live? Oh, you died.
He's
I'm so sorry. And like, you know.
No, because I know exactly what you're talking about. How hard it was.
I'm from the dawn of content making on the internet. I'm literally like, I'm a primordial slug of this generation. And I remember in all these conversations. And I just spent the last week, because I felt like I was doing myself a disservice by not consuming it. I just spent the last week watching endless Mr. Beast videos because I had never watched one.
I've never watched one.
It's irrelevant. You don't need to watch
that. You don't videos. Alex, have you seen?
Yeah, he's a genius. I think he's great.
Mr. Beast, Susie?
Never heard of it.
So me and Susie have not seen Mr. Beast.
Okay, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. He's the largest YouTuber.
All I know is he gives away money.
Yeah,
he gives away money, but the content itself, it's such a strident clarion call between visceral adrenaline rush content versus quality. And like, quality's fucking over there, and Mr. Beast is over there. And like, my 6-year-old is watching Mr. Beast going, Mr. Beast is the shit. And like, Mr. Beast God bless you. I hope you're happy. I hope your girlfriend loves you. Like, I hope you love her.
He's
Like, I
got
hope you're
plenty of money,
happy.
so he's happy.
No, I'm just saying, like, I have
Big
no
shit.
beef personally, but like what the content is, he is a machine that has come up with an algorithm, a personal algorithm for making content that makes people watch it because they want to see the outcome.
Right.
And then on the other side of the fucking planet of the universe is quality. And you've got CZ sitting in his room going like, I'm going to make the most amazing thing that I can think of, and it's going to be beautiful, and I'm going to labor over every piece of it. And you two, Eric, sitting and laboring over every piece of it. And then you've got this other end of the fucking universe where this guy's like, I have 200 million subscribers and I'm making $1 billion. And it's like, it's providing.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay. Because look,
okay, it's totally okay. And he does provide value. 1,000 people can see now that couldn't see, before he did that video where he gave sight to the blind.
How so?
For 1,000 people to go and have their vision corrected. So
that's cool.
They were blind and now they can see. Is it exploitative? Who cares? They can see.
Right.
He built wells in Africa. Who cares? He built wells. They have got Cameroon now has drinking water. But it's like, is it?
It's exploitation, but it's also
his own mother accused him of exploiting her in a video.
Oh, really?
Because she was like,
I'm not familiar with his work, but I mean, it's
in a video, he's like, Mom, here's $100,000. You're only giving me $100,000 because it's good content. He said, yes, but it will make you happy too. So isn't that a good thing? It's like it's just playing out, and my kids are like, oh my God, Dad, you're watching Mr. Beast. And
that's not the guy that's getting arrested who owns the whole
Andrew Tate.
town in
Andrew
Philadelphia.
Tate. No. I don't know. I thought you were talking about Andrew Tate, who owns the compound in Transylvania.
No. Yeah, no, it's not him. It's not him. It's somebody else.
Yeah, weapons
Cuba
in the compound.
Whole town in Philly.
I'm just saying, we're like, there's.
I'm not familiar with none of this shit that you're talking about.
The more the stuff happens, I mean, it's just the more the stuff happens, the more that we're fractured.
I think we're talking about different things here, though. I mean, because we start talking about like content creation, then we're talking about like Mr. Beast and like kind of separating, and then AI and everything. But what really comes down to is the shit that's awesome is going to go to the top. The shit that sucks is going to filter to the bottom, and then people are going to like really latch on to different things. I mean,
the reason that I disagree with you, though, Alex, is because some people will never, ever get to the good stuff.
Well, I mean, with AI coming out, though, I think that like, my screen just went blank. Anyways, with AI, it's going to happen. It's going to continue to happen. But everybody that's creating awesome content is really going to filter to the top because people want that tangible thing, and I think that's what it comes down to. People who aren't doing like the most great stuff is going to filter to the bottom.
Here's the question: will you be able to tell the difference between and will it matter if it's awesome and not created by a person, and if it's awesome created by somebody who's spent thousands of hours learning the craft and doing it? Is it going to matter?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because Mr. Beast figured out this algorithm where he makes so much money. He can spend $4 million on a video. And so it doesn't matter what we think. He's just pushing an algorithm and you've never seen it. And you don't need to. But there's millions of people who are, and they'll never find this other stuff. Like we're living. I'll shut the fuck up now. My point is that
no. I see your point. I see your point because
I think we're fractured, and we're going to be living in fractured, siloed realities.
Fractured. We're gonna all be listening. We're all gonna live to our own playlist.
Yeah,
you're right. Because that's essentially it. To where we're coming from the age of broadcast of. Everything's programmed at a certain time. Everything's going to be shown at a certain time. Everything's going to. Now you're right, and with AI coming into the mix, and the clip that it shoots, generates content. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't.
It's going to be like a dream world. Hopefully, there are kids that have that experience that you had, where you walked into that cafeteria, and it's like.
Well, people are going to strive for that, though, aren't they? They're going to.
I don't know.
Or maybe they're not. That's a really interesting way to put it, though, Eric. That everyone's living to their own playlist, because I hadn't thought about that before, and it's absolutely true. And we all did grow up with it's 6 o'clock. We all sit down watch this. We watch The Simpsons.
Yeah.
We all sit down and watch this thing. You know, and that doesn't happen
but
anymore.
I want to add to that though, because this is what makes events so valuable, like 5 Points Fest and conventions, because you're right. When we're living in our own playlist and the phone is watching our algorithm, it's only going to show shit to us that it thinks we like.
Right.
The phone's listening to us. So, but when we go to those events or we go to a mom and pop shop or a gallery, it's like, oh, they're seeing things, you know, that normally they wouldn't experience. So I think and I really believe this is the value of events. Like when events are going to become even more valuable in the future, because not everyone is capable of exhibiting, no matter how much content is coming out of them. Like it's just, you know, the business, it could be just the business makeup. They don't do events. They just do shit online. And you know, so it's just, to me, I honestly feel this is what makes what you guys do so special, because it's just, you need to see when you go to there's an energy being shared, you know, and that's the one thing you can't get like you can't get that online. Like you can't there's no way to emulate that. This is why if home video streaming, whatever, would have ended Hollywood, you know, the movie theater experience is the whole, you know, that sharing that thing, and this is why the movie theater won't die. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that energy, like that, this is who we are as human beings. We want to be in the same space, whether we like each other or not, and we want to see something. We want to be moved emotionally, and events. That's events. Like that's whether it's film, convention, like, and that's no matter what playlist we're listening to. That's gonna be always. I don't feel like it's. We don't have to worry about that, because it's not. It's always, content's always gonna keep coming out. It's just how is it distributed physically is the.
Like, that's exactly the question I was just going to ask you. Like, is it a physical experience or is it a digital experience that people actually walk away with? Like, from my perspective,
Which one?
physical experience, like you go to the event and you walk away with a physical, tangible artifact.
Oh, that will never go away. That will never go away. That's enough.
Will there be a generation that walks away from events with a purely digital artifact?
Oh yeah,
but
I feel digital and physical. Yeah, I honestly feel that it's gonna be both, but it will never replace. You know, when you think of, like, when you order. Good example. You order Amazon Fresh versus going to a supermarket. Amazon Fresh is a targeted thing. Like, okay, you know what you're looking for, and then you'll see their suggestions. Like, I don't want that shit. But you're going down the supermarket aisle, you're exposed to way more of a menu, you know, and a catalog, and you know, you'll be open to seeing and trying different things versus shit that has you know, like, I don't know how many fake reviews on Amazon, whatever. It's just, you know, to me, I always felt that especially with the way we're going, I was just like, nah, this is gonna change it. But then whenever I do events, I'm like, yeah, no, you can't replace this. Like, you just can't. Like, no matter what VR shit, AR thing you have, you can never replace that.
Eric, are you gonna come to 5 Points this year?
You should.
Even in June, right?
You is so important.
Why wouldn't you be there?
Eat your words, Eric. Eat your words.
I would love to do it.
Because, I mean, you can see in the political climate that just social media and the way the algorithms work, it's just like pushing people further and further apart and making them more insulated in their beliefs. So I hope the way you're saying is true, because there has to be some change. Otherwise, humanity is not going to exist as we think it, everything
No,
now.
look, I fall for it too. I mean, it social media, well, I don't want to say, I just want to call it social media. I'll call it like living with online. And when you're using, the phone's listening to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's only showing me shit that I want to see, and what my interest is, over listening it's overhearing my conversations. And I agree, but what I do feel that whenever I go to like public gatherings and stuff like that, this is where I'm going, okay, I'm reminded of what makes me human.
Humanity,
and
yeah.
like, yeah, it's just, this is, we need that. Like, and look, I'm an introvert, yo. Like, I'm not one to really go out in public spaces and shit, and not really, but I like being out and seeing, I used to love people watching in New York, because you could look around and you'll see 20 stories in like 20 minutes. And it was never a dull moment. But staying in and like just gaming out, I've done all that shit, like where I'm holed up like a hermit. And yes, it didn't really help me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it did skew my thinking, and it warped my perception, and like, especially at a young age when I was younger. But no, like, I could see the constant, like, we need to be around each other. Like, that's something, we need that, like, whether we admit it or not.
Yep.
Like,
So
that's just.
we should.
All right.
After the thing. No. Because I actually want to have some exhibitor information from you guys regarding that. I do have.
This is like a timeshare thing. We bring people on to these long
and then we sell
podcasts.
them on the events.
Yeah, and then we get you to sign up.
Well, you have to get on to your next call. I know.
Yeah, I gotta run. Yeah. But I thank you so much for having me. It was so good to see.
And we've
you
just
guys,
scratched the surface, really.
Of all the things we can't talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I know Tanaka and CZ, I'm sorry that I spoke so much, bro. Like, I know that but it was really good to be part of this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Yeah.
What happens? What's next?
We'll be back next week with another one of these awesome podcasts. We have other stuff happening. Buy tickets for 5 points. Check out the gallery shows.
Yes. Stay tuned on Instagram. Oh, and if you haven't already, we have to really start asking people to subscribe to our channel and like our content.
Subscribe to our channels. Come along
and I think we're gonna start doing some like really big giveaways. We should start doing some. Hey, what's up, Chris? I DM'd you earlier. We should start doing some really big giveaways to try and like boost the subscriber base of the channel. So maybe next week we'll announce some like
Mr.
big
B
giveaway.
style.
Mr. B style. 100,000.
Oh my God.
Where'd you get the $100,000 from to give away? I guess he started with like $100.
You gotta watch the videos.
I'm not gonna watch the videos.
Watch the videos. It all makes sense. It all plays out in the end.
No, but
oh my God.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for watching. Collect toys, love each other, go to events.
Come to 5 points.
Bye.